Just months after The Rock finally changed the hierarchy of power in the DC Extended Universe, it has changed again. The DCEU is going down, and it's taking Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam with it. The rumors are true, Black Adam is not happening, and it looks like the movie's soaring HBO Max streaming numbers won't be able to save it. Stick around as we break this story like lightning breaks the sky or something. First up, Dwayne Johnson has confirmed the sequel plans are in the can. This comes after discussions between Johnson and DC Studios' new head honchos James Gunn and Peter Safran, or in Johnson's words, he and Gunn connected. It seems that Black Adam will not be in the first chapter of their storytelling, and the fact that there are no plans for the character means he won't be around for a few chapters of that storytelling. On the other hand, Gunn tweeted that he loves The Rock, who doesn't, and excited to see what he and Steven Bucks do next. He also said he's looking forward to collaborating with the WWE Hall of Famer. The Black Adam sequel joins several projects recently aborted by the leadership at the DC Comics film franchise. Henry Cavill and his Superman return were recently shown the door, and Patty Jenkins supposedly let herself out after the cancellation of Gal Gadot's third film as Wonder Woman. Now, that doesn't mean we'll never see Black Adam on the big screen again, as Johnson's production company 7 Bucks has reached an agreement with DC Studios to explore how Black Adam can be used in DC multiverse chapters. We know that some of those multiverse outings at DC are their animated films, so that might be where The Rock will be cooking next. And for what it's worth, Johnson seems to be excited about what Gunn and Safran are bringing to the table. Now, it's a shame that Black Adam's long journey is hitting such an abrupt end, and we're not even talking about the character. The movie we finally saw this fall was the culmination of a 15-year struggle for the actor, dating back to just around the time The Rock wrestled his final at the time match. New Line Cinema initiated the development of a Shazam movie for the first time in the early 2000s, with Peter Siegel manning the helm in 2006. Dwayne was approached to play the role of Shazam, but a year later he was a lot more interested in playing the villain Black Adam instead. Fans at the time agreed it was a brilliant casting idea, and the hype train left the station and was derailed in 2009 when the film fell into development problems. Things didn't pick up again until 2014 when Warner Brothers decided to fold Black Adam into their planned cinematic universe, and Johnson himself revealed he was gonna play the character. In 2017, the actor actually had to defend his wish to play the character, as Chief Creative Officer Geoff Johns wasn't a fan of using this kind of star power on a villain. But you can't say no to The Rock, and Black Adam was turned into a solo movie just as a compromise between DC and Dwayne Johnson. Say what you will about Dwayne Johnson and his acting, but you have to respect the passion he had for Black Adam. Next up, it's worth wondering why DC is dropping Black Adam. While the movie wasn't the first success the DCEU ever had, it did emerge as a bit of a franchise highlight. Most people would probably consider The Suicide Squad or Peacemaker as the best projects of this cinematic universe, but those do stand apart compared to the more traditional superhero fare that Black Adam offered. Calling Black Adam a success is tricky. We know Rotten Tomatoes has this movie's rating at a mere 39%, but right next to that number is the 88% audience score that movie earned. So even though Black Adam isn't a masterpiece, and maybe Dwayne is too concerned with his image to play a villain, the flick turned out to be a crowd pleaser. A sequel could get a decent number of butts and seats, probably. This is the real reason why Black Adam 2 isn't happening. Despite its crowd pleaser potential and a relative lack of competition, the movie bombed at the box office, and The Hollywood Reporter decreed the movie would be lucky to break even. It didn't help that while Black Adam stood alone on its release weekend, it was sent packing by Black Panther: Wakanda Forever before long. At this point, all Warner wants its DCEU movies to do is keep them in the black, but with Black Adam losing $50 to $100 million against its budget, it's failed at even that for now. Moving on, the movie has actually had a resurgence on streaming. Black Adam recently made its way onto HBO Max, and it quickly made a splash. Within a few days of it being available, the movie was sitting atop the platform's rankings with 470 points among 47 countries. Despite it being the holiday season, the movie far displaced Dangerous Play and even A Hollywood Christmas, the second and third ranked offerings on the service. It's projected to hit the milestones achieved by HBO Max's other big movie successes, those being Dune, The Batman, and Don't Worry Darling. However, as we saw during the pandemic, the studios don't really care much for streaming success. Unless a movie was destined for streaming services, they don't seem to give a hoot about how well a movie does once it hits streaming. And the reasons why are pretty clear. Despite the fact that Black Adam is crushing HBO Max the way he crushes his enemies in the movie, it won't be able to justify its own value. Because streaming services offer an entire library of content at a single subscription fee, you can't really know what any one project contributes. Is Black Adam the reason why people are signing up for HBO Max? If it were, it'd be the thing keeping Black Adam afloat. out, but if people are only watching the movie because they had HBO Max already and The Rock won't stop talking about it, that's hardly a profit being made by the movie itself. After all this, only two questions remain, the first being when Black Adam will be part of the James Gunn franchise. If you think about it, there was maybe a universe where Black Adam could have shown up in the very first phase of sorts in the new DC cinematic universe. Shazam has often been a member of the Justice League, so if Gunn and Safran wanted, they could have introduced him early in the stages of the reboot and built up to him joining the League. In fact, we think that Black Adam could be a good first adversary for the Justice League, being a tricky villain to deal with. But for that, Black Adam would have to be firmly slotted into the role of Shazam villain, and while Geoff Johns didn't want that for Dwayne Johnson, we have a sense that Johnson doesn't want it either. The DCEU was setting him up as an anti-hero who fought bad guys while not being entirely good himself. In a similar vein to how Will Smith never plays the villain, Johnson would need a lot of convincing to be in a villainous role. You might ask if it isn't possible that Johnson could win Gunn over the way he won Geoff Johns over. Maybe he could convince the new stewards of the DC universe that he needs to do solo movies, but at the end of the day, the box office needed to do the talking and it was totally silent. Now, it doesn't help that Shazam and Black Adam are some of the last movies the world will get to see from the DCEU. We have no idea when the first installment of Gunn's tenure at DC Studios is gonna come out. Considering that none of those movies even have scripts yet, a total rush job would give you a movie in about 4 or 5 years. It's way too soon for DC Studios to be reusing characters with the same actors. People will be asking questions about the relationship between the new universe and the old. Black Adam, Shazam, Aquaman, and The Flash are the final movies released under the DCEU. These are the final stars of this franchise, so we can't expect them to take their time arriving in the new universe, and new actors will probably play them. As far as the current actors are concerned, Dwayne Johnson is the only one we think has owned his role enough to actually be considered to reprise it in the new DC universe. Finally, what's Black Adam's future going to be in general? The point about multiversal chapters totally suggested that Black Adam will be heading to the animated corner of the DC film franchise, which is usually a separate universe of related movies. At the moment, animated movies featuring DC characters fall under the DC Universe Animated Original Movies Cinematic Universe. Try saying that fast 3 times. Inside this franchise were several continuities and cinematic universes that overlapped each other to varying degrees. Chief among them is the DC Animated Movie Universe, a 7-year-long series that included many adaptations of New 52 storylines, and the DC Animated Universe, which is also known as the Timmyverse and includes Batman the Animated Series. DC Studios is going to be in charge of this now, and you can't expect things to change quite a bit. A big part of why Discovery created the studio and put James Gunn at its head was to clean up messes like this one, and we think that there's totally room for Black Adam somewhere in this franchise, voiced by Dwayne Johnson. The actor does have experience in voice acting for Disney. Some might call Moana his best movie. Sure, voice acting Black Adam isn't exactly what Dwayne Johnson wanted from his time as the character. He's had a couple of opportunities to do that in the last 15 years, and he only took one of them, but you gotta take what you can get. That's it for today's video. Let us know in the comments section below if you liked Black Adam and if you're excited to see more of him. But whatever you do, don't forget to change the hierarchy of likes, shares, and subscription on this video, and we'll see you in the next one.